One of the biggest questions we get asked almost every time we post a video is, what focus settings do we use? I'm about to tell you. So as I mentioned before, one of the most requested comments that we get is, what focus do we use? Do we use manual focus, autofocus, continuous focus? What's the focus settings that we use shooting on these Fujifilm cameras, especially cameras mounted on a gimbal? So we use two gimbals, the DJI Ronin S as well as the Zhiyun Crane 2. And using these gimbals, it's almost impossible for us to use manual focus, although I'd never really like manual focus anyway. I think the Fujifilms do a really good job. Obviously not as good as Canon's dual point autofocus, not that I've really used the new ones yet, but with Fujifilm's color profiles and science, I'll kind of take that, a little bit slower focus to compare to Canon's video quality. So, but saying that as well, I almost do like that the Fujifilm cameras do focus a little slower. It offers a little bit of like a push through that I don't want it to go too fast or too slow. And it also, with the Fujifilms, it allows you to set how quickly or how slowly you want your cameras to focus. Obviously, it also differs from lens to lens. So we'll discuss that quickly. We'll go through some of the menu settings. I'll show you what I prefer. I'm not saying that is the right way at all. I'm not saying that this is what you should do. This is just what works for us. So let's go. So the next camera we're going to be looking at is the Fujifilm X-T3. I've been using this now for the past 6 months, I think, and this just blows the X-H1, X-T2, any Fuji camera that I have used out of the water completely when it comes to video shooting. Even photos. I'll shoot sometimes with this and an X-T2, and I think something's wrong with the X-T2 because this thing is an absolute monster. Fujifilm did a really, really good job on this. I'm going to show you all my focus settings in a quick second. Just put the HDMI cable back in there. I know that Fujifilm is saying X-H1 is for video. I don't know why they don't market this more as a video camera, because this thing is an absolute beast of a camera when it comes to videos. We're going to go into the settings in a second, and I'll show you just some of the reasons why this is such a better video camera than the X-H1. Yes, the X-H1 has IBIS. Yes, I understand that is appealing to a lot of people. Get a gimbal and get the X-T3. The IBIS is the only thing going for the X-H1 right now. This is, and I even think the costs of the two of them are pretty much very similar, but you will not go wrong with the X-T3. So let's jump right into the menus, and I'll show you some of the reasons that the X-T3 really makes such a big difference when it comes to video, especially for the guys that want to have more control when it comes to their video options and capabilities. So right off the bat, you already see that there's different options here. So first of all, our movie setting modes are exactly the same. I'm not going to really go into that again, but this is quite big. This is the difference that the X-T3 offers that neither the X-T2 nor the X-H1 really offer, and it's to choose between H.265 and H.264. You'll see that the one offers 10-bit internal into an SD, and the other one is 8-bit into an SD, both 10-bit 420 and 422 onto your HDMI output into external recorders. I mainly shoot on the 264 as we don't really shoot flat, so I'm not super into like caring about the color grade and stuff. Apparently the 265 is for the guys that are interested in shooting more 4K, and then if you're shooting 1080 like we are in one of the Fujifilm's amazing color profiles, then this H264 is the way to go. Then this is a big difference that I only recently discovered that they do not offer in any of the other Fuji cameras, and that is your movie compression. All intra and long GOP, I've seen them call it long GOP, or I call it long GOP because GOP sounds funny and weird. So I don't know what the Fujifilm X-H1 actually compresses its files into, nor do I know what the X-T2 does. I don't know what the default setting is. All I know is that the X-T3 is the only one that gives you the option to choose between the two. So just a quick overview of what the two different ones is, because technically you should be swapping between them during the day depending on what you shoot. So all intra is your best compression. It's large files, so there's a lot less compression, I would assume. But what it does is it analyzes every frame individually, and then it compresses, and the algorithm then looks at every frame individually and compresses them individually. Where long GOP or long GOP just takes the entire clip and compresses it, thinking that it's more or less the same. So for shooting on a gimbal, especially weddings, when you do your B-roll, your walking shots, a lot of shots with a lot of movement, a lot of sudden color changes, details and all that kind of things, you're gonna be wanting to shoot all intra. Yes, the downside is it takes up a lot of space on your SD cards rather than carry some extra SD cards. But shoot all intra, because once you upload your video to Vimeo or YouTube or Facebook, it's going to compress your stuff even more. So this gives you the best video quality as well as more options when it comes to your editing and stuff. Then your long GOP is more to be used as the compression that you use when you're shooting speeches or the ceremony or interviews or static things, when you're shooting static stuff, because what it does is the algorithm is different, and it looks at all the different, it doesn't look at all the different frames individually, it looks at the clip as a whole. And you get smaller file sizes with the long GOP or the long GOP, but your compression, so I don't know if you've sometimes seen, you'll upload something onto YouTube, and for example the trees and stuff might not be 100, like it starts becoming like milky, not milky, but like it's not as crisp and as detailed as you might like it, and that's most likely on your long GOP or long GOP. So for your best possible video quality, shoot all intra and just get some bigger video cards. So something that about these two that is very interesting to me was that none of your other cameras, not your X-H1, not your X-T2, and what I've today just found out, I just got this X-T3. The local camera guys here, Kloppers, was kind enough to borrow this for me for the day to have a look at it. And the X-T30 does not offer these settings. So Fujifilm claims that the X-T30 is pretty much exactly the same as the X-T3, but it doesn't offer that in the video mode. So if you're looking to buy a Fujifilm camera and you're looking at the more budget or the cheaper version of the X-T3, the X-T30, just be aware that the X-T30 does not give you this options. So if being able to shoot or being able to choose between H.265 or 264 is important to you, or being able to choose between the different movie compressions, then you cannot get the X-H1, the X-T2 or the X-T30, as they do not offer these settings in camera. Like I said, I'm not actually sure what the default compression is on the X-H1 or X-T2 or X-T30. I guess I'll have to look it up, but I think I like that I'm able to pick between the two different algorithms. So other than that, everything is pretty much exactly the same settings wise. When we're looking at what focus settings we use, I'm still picking the area instead of the multi. My custom settings are still tracking sensitivity at +2, my AF speed still at 0. Other than that, it's exactly the same as in all the other cameras. So for X-T2, X-H1, X-T3, my focus settings are pretty much exactly the same. The only difference is, what I really like about the X-T3 is that I'm able to pick between the different codecs and as well as the compression, because sometimes I want to save space and sometimes I want to look at getting that extra detail. Then other than that, same as everything else. We will be shooting at the, I can lose the HDMI port. Other than that, X-T3 now is on my gimbal permanently. I'd use the X-H1 or X-T2 on tripods, which is a shame, I know, because of the IBIS, but still my gimbal is the most used. When I use it on the gimbal, I do not add the grip to it. I only shoot it with like this, so it's just easier to balance and less weight. And then of course the focus settings in front here, it'll always be on continuous or the C, and then only on single point if I'm trying to focus on behind something and I don't want it to move in between. But that's just more for more technical stuff. But for the most part, any of the stuff like this that you see here, the walking stuff, all that kind of shots as well, like all this panning around stuff, this stuff is all shots on C and continuous, on autofocus area, and yeah, that's about it. I think we really use the X-T2 instead of a tripod now. It's mostly between the X-T3 and the X-H1. My other main videographer, Louis, shoots on the X-H1. He's used to it and likes it. We just recently switched to X-T3. So I'm just really getting to know it and seeing that I really think everyone in our team is going to switch over to X-T3 really soon. So yeah, that's my settings. Autofocus, X-T3. Yeah, so if you guys have any questions about what I just went through, if you want me to go more in depth into the menu settings, the video settings, please leave a comment down below. I'm still pretty new to being in front of the camera like this. It's pretty awkward to me. Talking to a camera is absolutely weird. But yes, I want to talk to you guys more. I want to reach out more. I'd love to hear from you. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. I hate asking that. That's so awkward to me. But thanks guys. Thanks for watching, and see you again next week.